Hey everyone, welcome back to another great episode of Sell This Flipping Cars. I'm Zachary, and in today's episode, we are replacing the valve covers on the 2017 Ford Edge. So stay tuned, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zachary with Sell This Flipping Cars, and in today's episode, we are replacing the valve cover gaskets on the 2017 Ford Edge. Now, if you are replacing just the valve cover gaskets, no problem. You can get the valve cover gaskets by themselves. But if you are needing to replace the spark plug well O-rings, the O-rings, the seals that go around the spark plug wells, then you need to replace the valve cover as a whole. It is made out of plastic. You just need to replace the valve cover as a whole with them already pre-installed. So no problem there. I'm going to go ahead and throw the link to the parts in the video description down below, guys, so you don't have to search all over the internet and try to find them. I already got them set up for you, so no worries there. It is on Amazon. I do get about 99% of my parts on Amazon because the price is very competitive and the quality is just as great as if I was to pick it up in the auto parts store myself. So guys, I do ask you, hey, make sure you smash that subscribe button. It tells YouTube and myself I'm doing a great job with my videos and helping my viewers as well. So this repair does cost on average about $1,300 to $1,400 US. So it is quite an expensive repair. I'm going to show you how to do the front and the rear valve cover removal, so you can either replace the valve cover if you need to replace all the seals or replace the valve cover gaskets. So let's get into it, guys. All right, we're going to go ahead and start out the repair by taking the negative terminal off the battery. That way we do not have any live electricity on these sensors or wire harnesses when we are disconnecting them. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the plastic trim off the top of the engine, move it out of the way. I am using my trim tool, which I will link it in the video description down below. If you do not have trim tools in your toolbox as a mechanic, you are missing out on some amazing tools that can help you in saving some fingernails. So next we're going to go ahead and take this air box off. We do have the mass airflow sensor wire harness on the neck of the air filter, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect that, take that off, and next take the clamps off of the air filter box and then loosen the 8mm clamp that's actually holding the air filter neck to the throttle body. Then you're just going to go ahead and wiggle it just like so and take it off. There is a tube on the right side that you need to take off as well. Do not forget to get that. And reinstall the tube by just putting it back on the intake when you are removing it. There is a vacuum tube on the bottom of the air box as well. The vacuum tube does have a little lever on it, okay? So do not force it. All you have to do is move the lever to the side and it will unhook itself. We do have the front valve cover right here. The front valve cover is going to be the easiest one to get, but the red tabs right there are on the coils. I always give people a hard time, but I'm going to use my trim tool to go ahead and push the little red tab up. Once you push it up, all you have to do is press the wire harness, squeeze it together, and it will come off. These sensors as well, which are your cam sensors for your both of your cams, because you have a dual overhead cam on this V6 engine. Move the purple clips up and then squeeze it together and pull the wire harness off. Remember, the tab has to be in the upward position. Okay, once you do that, you can go ahead and unhook all those. That is very easy part right there. And then you have an 8mm bolt holding the coil on. So go ahead and loosen that and take those off. Next, we're going to go ahead and get the wire harnesses that are on the fuel injectors. That way we can go ahead and move the entire wire harness out of our way and not have to deal with it while we are removing the valve cover. So those plugs on the wire harness on the fuel injector is the same as the coils. Move the clip in the upward position and then squeeze the clip together and move it out of the way. As you see, I am removing that clip right there. It is held on by a couple of plastic fasteners. So the trim tool does make easy work of getting those out of the way. Now that we have those fasteners off, we're going to go ahead and grab a 3/8 drive with a 10mm ratchet, and we're going to go ahead and start loosening up these bolts holding the valve cover on. As you saw, I took the vacuum tube off so I could have a little bit more room to work with. Make sure you move the wire harness completely out of your way so you don't have to fight it. It is only gonna move ever so much, but you will find out later in the repair when you're doing the rear valve cover, most of the harness gets moved completely out of the way. Also, when you are removing the valve cover, guys, double check that nothing is being held up. If you feel there's more resistance than there should be, then you need to see if there are any bolts still holding the valve cover in. If you feel that there's too much resistance when you're bringing the valve cover up, you need to double check that you took all the plastic fasteners off of the wire harness itself, because you do not want to damage your wires. Slow and steady will always win this race when it comes to auto repairs, everyone. And there you go, the front valve cover, the easiest one, is now uninstalled, and you can replace the valve cover gasket. Now, if you are replacing the spark plug O-rings as well, there will be the spark plug O-rings for the spark plug wells. If you are replacing those as well as the valve cover gasket as well, then you need to replace the entire cover. I will put the entire cover in the video description down below. That way you have that as well. Right there is your camshaft position sensors for your cam 1 and cam 2. This is a dual overhead cam V6 that is in this Ford Edge. It's a great vehicle, and actually they use it across multiple years for the Ford Edge, so great job on that one. We are replacing the entire valve cover on this one because the spark plug wells were getting oil in them. So if you are getting engine oil in your spark plug well, that is if you take the coil off and you look in there and there's oil with the spark plug, that is a no-go. Okay, that is no bueno. You need to replace your valve cover as an entirety. Okay, so I will put the valve cover gaskets, but also the valve covers themselves in the video description down below. If you do order the valve covers that I link, it does come with the valve cover gaskets as well. So you do not have to order them as well. It would just be order the covers. Once you have the valve cover in place, go ahead and press it down and shake it firmly, but not, overboard or anything. You want to push it in. That way the spark plug wells will sit on the spark plug well seals that are in the middle of the valve cover. And also you want to make sure that the valve cover itself, the valve cover gasket, is sitting properly, and the gasket itself has not rolled or pinched in any spots. That's why it's great that it is a bright colored blue. That way you can notice if it is sitting properly. So if it is not sitting properly, you will exhibit some engine oil leaks. We do need to take the throttle body off. You will find it to be a lot easier that way by taking those 2 bolts off right there and the 4 bolts holding the throttle body on. Moving those out of the way will definitely help you get that intake manifold off. There is a bolt behind that throttle body. I did take those 3 plugs off to get them out of my way so I could remove the wire harness altogether. Those bolts running the base of the intake manifold are 10 millimeter bolts, and you need to make sure you get all of them, okay? If the intake manifold does not move, it is because you did not remove all the bolts, and you need to get all those. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and grab the trim tool and go ahead and remove these wire harnesses and get them out of the way. It is a 8 millimeter that is holding that sensor on that I showed you on the throttle, near the throttle body. Taking that off and moving it out of the way, making sure you do not damage it. Okay, that is very important. Remember, I keep on saying this throughout the entire repair. Do not damage any of these, because you are going to make a simple repair into a major repair if you damage any of this. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and loosen that off with the 8 millimeter and the 1/4 inch drive ratchet. Overall, this repair is very simple, guys. It does take a little bit of time to get it. If you do not replace the valve covers entirely, okay, you will run into problems because the spark plug well seals do wear out, and sometimes replacing the valve cover gasket just isn't enough, and this was definitely one of those times, and I had to pay with extra time to get it done. So as you saw with that, I went ahead and removed the sensor away from the throttle body, and I moved the hose out of the way as well. So very easy on that one. We're going to go ahead and grab a 6-inch drive extension, put it on that 1/4 inch drive with the 8 millimeter on it. And we're going to go ahead and take the 4 bolts off of the throttle body now as well, and move that out of the way. There is a wire harness attached to the left side of the throttle body, so just go ahead, slide the clip on it, squeeze it together, and move that wire harness plug out of your way. That way you can remove the throttle body and get that out of your way. As soon as we get that out of our way, you will notice the 8 millimeter bolt that is holding the throttle body securely onto a bracket. That way you don't get any throttle body wiggling while the vehicle is moving. So a nice little thing from Ford. Thank you for that. It is very fun to find out that the bolt is still there if you didn't take it out and didn't know about it. So that's always fun as well. All right, so you see right now I'm gonna go ahead and get that last bolt off that throttle body, and that moves that out of the way. It is not a lot moved out of our way, but you will notice when you're removing the intake manifold that little space that I was given was highly required. Now that we have that out of our way, we can go ahead and grab the bolts holding the intake manifold and loosening all those up and getting those out of our way. Make sure you loosen it all the way. If you don't loosen it all the way, that intake manifold is going to move, but it's not going to move all the way, and you run the risk of breaking that plastic intake manifold. So be careful, guys. Yeah, they're trying to save money on their parts by making them out of plastic and CVS and everything. So you gotta be careful, because if you crack it, sometimes it'll chip. Next thing you know, you have a huge vacuum leak out of these intake manifolds, and you definitely do not want that. There is a hose on the back of the intake manifold as well, held on there. It is one of those clips, just like you ran into on the front valve cover. So go ahead and move the little trigger mechanism to the side and wiggle it up. It hasn't been off in a while, okay, so do not force it, but wiggle it off after you move the lever to the side, and it will actually just move off. And there we go. The intake manifold is off, and now we have complete access to the rear valve cover, and it is going to be the exact same thing as we did on the front valve cover. Okay, make sure you move the red tabs in the upward position and then squeeze the wire harness together. So here, I want to show you that lever mechanism right there. You're just going to move it to the side and it opens it up. Okay, and that is the same on the front and the back. So do not fight it. It will break. Okay, it is very easy to break, but just move it to the side and it will just slide right off, and it is on that little arm right there. So too easy on that one. All right, so Xavian, of course, had to help me with the repair and usually talks my ear off. So here I went ahead and grabbed all the wire harnesses off of the valve cover, just like I did on the front. Make sure you slide the tabs to the upward position, squeeze the harness together, and then go ahead and remove it. Make sure you get all the 10mm bolts around the entire valve cover. And if you feel any additional resistance that does not feel like you should be, handling it like that, okay, you have to double check for bolts, okay? Run your finger along the perimeter of the valve cover if you have to, but you have to make sure you get all those bolts out. It is a plastic valve cover and you can break it, okay? Remember, I keep on saying don't break this stuff because Ford keeps on filling their vehicles with plastic parts, okay? So definitely be careful with that, with the 10mm bolts. As long as you have all those and the plastic fasteners from the wire harnesses off, so the wire harness isn't holding the valve cover down, then you are good to go. Move the valve cover slowly but surely out of the way, and make sure the harnesses are all out of your way as well. That way you do not put any additional pressure or tension on those wires from the wire harness, because you can actually break those old wires with the insulation and everything, the little rubber insulation that's around them. You can break that. Next thing you know, you have a short because some of the brass insides is touching or it's too close together. So definitely be careful with that. And that's what I'm doing right here, is I'm going through the extra step right here. I'm making sure I'm getting the valve cover free of any of the wire harness. And I did have it snag up a little on me, and that's why I'm taking my time right here, because this is completely the rabbit versus the tortoise, okay? The tortoise is going to win this race every single time, because guess what? If you are fast with this and it goes out quick, you do run the risk of it breaking. So there you go. We do have the valve cover out. Now all we have to do is, throw the new valve cover gasket on there just like we did on the front one, and go ahead and reinstall. All right, so now I have the intake manifold put back in. We have it sat back into position. We get the bolts started that hold it down. Do not forget about that 8mm bolt that is under the throttle body. That is definitely key to this intake manifold. It adds a little bit extra, security in there, so don't forget that. And now we're going to go ahead and throw the throttle body on with its 4 8mm bolts. Do not forget about the wire harness that is next to that throttle body as well, that connects to it. Get those bolts nice and fastened down. It is too easy, and everything is just reassembly just the way you took it off, guys. Make sure you fire the vehicle up after and double check for any oil leaks from the valve cover gaskets. So again, make sure you wiggle those valve covers and make sure the valve cover gasket has not folded or been pinched in any spots, or you will have a oil leak. So double check on that one, guys, and great job. Now, I would say the front was pretty easy, but the rear was a little bit of a challenge. It wasn't too bad though. Was it $1,400 worth of labor? Nah, I wouldn't say that. So taking it to the auto repair shop, definitely out of the picture. I hope this video helped you guys get your valve covers replaced on your Ford Edge, so you can get back on the road. You can stop leaking oil all over your alternator and your starter and everything, and making a mess of your engine. So thank you so much, guys, for checking out another great episode right here on the channel. I'm Zachary. Make sure you smash that subscribe button in the lower right hand corner. Hit the like button so YouTube and myself both know I'm doing a great job with the videos. And until next time, guys, hey, keep on wrenching. Take care, guys.